Hello, everybody. Dorothy Morgan here, professional astrologer. Today, we're going to talk about some astrology for today, March 10th. We're also going to do a little additional information from Spirit, from the Astro-Dice, and as always, pull a card from this deck. Yes, that says Om. It's upside down. You have to look at it this way. Om. I need to remember that. We need a lot of peace in the world right now. Need it in our lives too. It's been quite stressful. I'm not the only member of my family that's looking for a place to live, and it's been hell. With that being said, let's look at the astrology for today, because we have some amazing things happening. Today, it just started. It was early this morning. The moon was at the first quarter, and that just means when the moon and the sun are at a square angle. It happened in the middle of the night. However, it was at 19 Gemini. 19 Gemini 9 months ago was June 10th, 2021. We had an eclipse on that day. New moon solar eclipse on June 10th. I want you to open up your journals, calendars, whatever. What did you initiate at that point in time, or other circumstances? It isn't always that we initiate, but circumstances were initiated. Something was begun back at June 2021, because 9 months later now, this is called the lunar gestation phase. 9 months later, we have that first square from the sun to the moon at the very same degree. So this is at 19 degrees. It was just last night. First quarter. Some books call it the second quarter. It's the square. Half of the moon is shining in the sky at night. So what happens on this first quarter, energetically, it's like a struggle. So whatever, again, began in the new moon solar eclipse on June 10th, you would be feeling this struggle, this push, just like when you plant a seed under the ground, and that baby has to germinate, and then it has to struggle and wiggle its way through the soil to get to the top, to break through. And that's where we're at. The struggle is real. And then we now have a breakthrough. So yes, fingers crossed for that. And when the moon is in Gemini, Cancer, and part of Leo, in a cycle that it's going through, it's out of bounds. And so moon in Gemini for the rest of the day, information is really heightened. Emotional information is really heightened. And when the moon gets into Cancer, we're going to feel that even more. People are going to think it feels like a full moon, because that moon being out of bounds is very dynamic every time. Like I said, every time it's in half a Gemini, all a Cancer, and half a Leo, it's out of bounds in the north. And the opposite signs, it does the same thing. It's out of bounds in the south. So moon enters Cancer Friday morning, 2 a.m-ish. So we got an emotional day, an emotional few days in front of us. So I'm going to stop right there. There's always a ton more on my Patreon. Please come and support me there. It's the way I can do this free content, by doing more astrology over there on that platform. It's just a few dollars a month. So we're going to use the Astro-Dice as just like, a spirit message. Astrology is my clues. So I get messages that way. So what do we come up with? Jupiter in Cancer in the 6th house. Well, isn't just that's appropriate. Jupiter is about the expansive nature. This is not in the sky. This is an additional message from the Astro-Dice, from Spirit, if you will. Jupiter expansive in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is our home, our emotions, our feelings, our family. There's a lot going on here today. So if this message is for you, like me, you might be feeling a little insecure about where you're going to live. However, maybe it shows us where we can live, and it gives us all kinds of options, right? To move into a place that's even better than before. For some of us, we don't have those issues. Some of you might be feeling, so I'm thinking of that Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. Maybe your family's expanding, maybe babies being born. Maybe somebody just discovered they're having a baby. Maybe a family member is coming to live with you. It's an expansion of the family, and it will impact our everyday activities. Impact does not mean this. It's not a bad thing. It just our everyday, what we do out and about, or what we do as a routine, because that's what the sixth house is about. It's our everyday activities. It's focusing on the details of what day in and day out life is like. So that's that extra message from Spirit. So however that resonates for you, that's today's astrology message. Now let's just get the Oracle deck here and just see, yeah, what it wants us to keep shuffling. I like this one. It's prayer feather. There we go. It's a nice card. Yeah. It represents, well, what the, not the premise, but what this represents is in Native tradition, this is my understanding, in Native tradition, they would, take those feathers, usually whatever, take turkey feathers, whatever, but you would paint on them, put like energy into them. And then you would hang them on the tree. So you can see that it's hanging on the tree, and it would take your thoughts and those wishes to spirit, to your ancestors, to your higher self. So you're able to, you can release things that way. So don't do two things on one feather. If you're going to do releasing, then we tend to just write it down on paper and burn it. And we're in a waxing lunar phase, but we still need to release no matter what the lunar phase is. So there's that opportunity. And then there's also the opportunity to put down, your wishes, your hopes, your dreams. And we're in that waxing lunar phase. So it's going to lean more towards that. However, that doesn't mean you can't release things. So that's really important. I want to, let me check the book, see if I'm missing anything. So I looked at the book, I hit pause and I looked, and it's exact, it is what, there isn't anything else except the additional piece was saging, right? So if you have a feather, we tend to use our feathers to, turn on, light some sage or Palo Santo, whatever, and just, cleanse your area. So it's a recommendation for that too. And you can do that if it resonates with you. All right, everybody, let's send out lots of good juju to the world. Say those prayers. Send that light out. It will make a difference, at least in our hearts. All right, blessings, everybody. See you tomorrow. Namaste.